There will probably never be another occasion that it's so important that I appear on video to share a message that I, as part of the church, so sincerely believe the church needs to hear. More than that, though, I'm convicted that this is a message that the church should, and I believe is called to share with the world. Now, I swore to myself that once I started filming this video, I would do it all in one take, regardless of how nervous or uncomfortable I may appear to be. No second, third, or fourth take, no editing, just pushing record and doing this thing. Just me. Because it is time that we stop presenting partial or polished versions of ourselves, which are really lies about who we really are. Who we are is the greatest thing that we forget, or worse, the greatest thing we stifle. I see it as the purest and most basic form of God's grace. People being able to be themselves, exposed and honest and vulnerable, and as themselves being given to people. That's it. That's life's highest gift. People being given to people. We are so much more interesting and so much more valuable than our expectations or stereotypes or lies or illusions could ever fabricate. And yet, we hide from each other. Our cultures and religions and mores pressure many of us to hide to such a degree that the worst lie being told is the one told to ourselves. That we are not, that we even cannot be who we actually are. So, here I am. Who I am is the most I can give, and is really all that I have to offer. And my intention and my prayer and my hope is that this is received as the most important thing in what I'm finally sharing with you. I'm gay. Regardless of anything I do, this is who I am. It's not a choice. It's not quite that escapable as many of us might prefer it to be. And it's only been within the past couple of years that I've been able to face the truth which I was actually trying to escape. And that truth is that being gay is actually not a fault, or a flaw, or an evil, or a perversion. I had to receive who I am as a gift. This has become possible for me after I did everything that I could. After 2 degrees in biblical studies and 12 years in the church, pondering and searching these issues, to keep believing that this is not the way people should be. But after much growth in my understanding of God, the Bible, and morality, I gradually realized that there was no barrier to acknowledging who I am, except for the beliefs of other people and what they may think of me. what I have learned over the past couple of years is not that it doesn't matter what people think. It's that what people think isn't going to hinder me from being honest with myself and with God and with everyone else. So, starting now, as I approach 29 years old this month, what people think simply isn't going to determine how my life is going to go anymore. And it especially is not going to determine how I understand what God has for me. After I began to realize that it was culture telling me that there's something majorly wrong with the way I am, the panic of possibly being gay subsided enough so that what finally came into full view before me was me. I was finally able to look at myself, acknowledge myself, and to not hate what I see. Ever since I can remember, I used to have bouts with severe self-loathing and depression. I felt like I couldn't stand to be in this skin anymore. I didn't know in these moments why this was happening, because I was hiding from myself. And hiding is poisonous. Denying and suppressing who you really are does serious damage, and I am through. I'm through believing the lie that who I am is something I should continue to be ashamed of and to deny and to suppress. I have done this for way too long, and at this point, every experience I've had in coming out of hiding has been healing. I'm coming up on what will be 2 years of actually becoming comfortable and even confident in my own skin to be myself with people. And I never knew life could be so good. That you can just be you without worrying about what people may see in you. I have always been hiding. And bit by bit, I've come out of hiding. Starting now, in you seeing me in this video, I'm not hiding anymore. What led to this was the combination of beginning to realize that there was nothing worth hiding. And also a timely, albeit surprising, conversation with someone that revealed to me that I was being seen anyway. I wasn't doing that good of a job hiding anyway, so what was the point of keeping it up? And it wasn't in that conversation, but in the same day, I came out to a very close friend of mine. I had no idea waking up that morning that would happen, and then lead to all of these unthinkable things happening. That was the fall of 2014, and everything that's followed since then, as I have continued to let myself be seen as I'm ready, is an amazing story. It's not just being happy and the unspeakable joy of being able to be yourself. It's also that I have never been so astounded and surprised by the presence and activity and care of God. I would need another hour or more to tell you this whole story, and so it'll be on my blog, which I'll put the link to below. But I wanted to take this opportunity now to let myself be seen as I share the message of how important it is that we do this, with each other and for each other. The crucial point of this whole story occurred in the mountains of now North Carolina at the Wild Goose Festival in July of 2015. If everything so amazing and so unexpected that happened there didn't happen, Wild Goose still would have been the first time that I was around people and was not hiding. And that would have been enough. And that would have been plenty. But with the way that Wild Goose did happen, it wasn't just a place where I finally wasn't hiding. It was a place where I was actually seen. And that has made all the difference. So being seen really is my message in this. I don't think me being gay is or should be a big enough deal for me to have to get on camera and do this the way I'm doing it. But in a world of so much hiding, our need to see each other is. With all the ways we divide ourselves into us and them, those people, seeing each other is the greatest way to discover how it really is just only us. So being seen really is my greatest need in this. And I believe that the greatest need of others as they relate to me is just to see me. It's all I expect. It's not acceptance from everyone. It's just seeing me and then dealing with what they believe honestly and faithfully as best they can. This is especially important and where I live because my culture in both the larger society of the American South and in much of the church often enforces the idea that being gay is at worst wrong in itself, or at best just weird in itself and wrong to love in a way that corresponds to it. The higher education institutions in which I study the Bible reinforce this idea, and I have been a member of only church bodies that included this idea in their teachings. This includes the United Methodist Church and its current official stance, and the particular church which I have been a part of for the last 6 years, and for the past 4 years I have been on staff. Because my current position at my church is the major reason I have kept hiding who I am to this point, I do want to take the opportunity now to say that I will be resigning my position in a week's time. I have had a long time to think about this, and I have no doubt that this is the right thing at the right time. I realized 5 months ago now that if my understanding of what's happening in my life and the message that I have to share from this is that people should not hide anymore and should let themselves be seen, how could I ever keep hiding just for the sake of convenience and keep a job that I wouldn't have even taken had I known who I was in the first place? And now that I do acknowledge and welcome who I am, and now that I have timed things right for my family and have honored my final commitments at work, I am moving on. And I want to assure everyone that I am making the careful decision to leave. I am not being forced to leave. I am choosing to leave. I have no interest in making myself look like a victim. This decision I'm making is what I believe is best for the church and for me, and I have no regrets. The only thing I ask is that you honestly see me in the same way that I am finally trying my best to be seen. This is me. This is who I have always been. I have not made any choice other than to finally let people see who I am. As all this started, I prayed so hard that God would correct me harshly if that's what I needed, and I was so scared. Scared of God's correction, yes, but even more scared that my life is actually going in this direction. Like this is actually happening. That it's actually going to be a matter of me being this vulnerable. And what has happened after those prayers is that far from correction, I can't see my life in the past year and a half as anything but God blessed. And I know that comes across as a challenging statement if you don't believe the way that I now believe, but all I am doing is all I can do, and that is just witness to what's happened. I am not setting out to argue. I am not fighting. I am not setting out to make enemies. But progress in the issues facing the church and our society about the inclusion of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, questioning, beautiful people will not continue if we who are hiding do not keep letting ourselves be seen to the world. I am only able to do this now because of all those brave people before me who let themselves be seen as who they are. And if you are watching this and you are in a situation like mine and doing what I'm doing now is unthinkable for you, I want you to know that you can do this. You can do this. It does, how unthinkable it seems, does not mean that you can't just let yourself be seen for who you actually are. I never thought I could. Never thought that I could ever do this until I did. A friend of mine once told me that, you know, as all this was beginning to unfold, that telling the truth is the most powerful thing that you can do. It reminded me of how another friend at a very important time earlier on articulated the same idea in a different way when he told me that telling the truth is the most loving thing you can do. I hope this is seen as the most loving thing that I can do for those who know me but don't know this about me yet. And my hope is that just being seen and seeing each other has the power to show us that the dividing walls between us have already been torn down in the body of the God who came in human flesh.